So, if you're in the Next.js world, you've definitely felt the ground shifting lately. It's this massive evolution, right? And right at the center of it all is this, well, it's a tale of two routers. The classic Pages router that we all know, and this powerful new kid on the block, the app router.
All right, let's just cut to the chase because this is the question on every Next.js dev's mind right now. It doesn't matter if you're spinning up a brand new project or you're deep in the trenches of an existing one. This choice, Pages versus app, has some huge implications. So let's figure it out. Which one should you be using?
And to really get a handle on this, we've got to go back to the beginning. We need to talk about the system that pretty much put Next.js on the map and made it the giant it is today. I'm talking, of course, about the Pages router.
I mean, for the longest time, the Pages router was Next.js. It's the old guard, you know? It's mature, totally battle-tested, and honestly, the docs are amazing. This was the bedrock, the foundation that gave us a super clear, predictable way to build literally countless apps.
So why did everyone love it so much? Well, it came down to one beautifully simple and intuitive idea: file-based routing.
In the Pages router world, things were just easy. You want a new page for your site? You just create a new file inside the Pages directory. Seriously, that was it.
And boom, just like that, the file path, it automatically became the URL. So simple. This gave developers this crystal clear picture in their heads. You could literally just glance at the file system and immediately understand the entire structure of the app.
But you know how it goes. As apps started getting bigger and more complex, that beautiful simplicity started to, well, it started to show some cracks. And the biggest crack of all? Layouts. The minute you needed complex UIs, think shared headers, sidebars, nested menus, that simple file per page model just fell apart. It created what's been called accidental complexity. Basically, you ended up writing a ton of custom boilerplate code just to solve a problem that felt like it should have been handled by the framework.
And this is where you really see the two philosophies diverge. With the Pages router, you were stuck juggling this global app.js file and coming up with your own custom patterns to handle layouts. But the app router? It just came in with a native solution, a simple layout.js file that just works. Even for really complex UIs, where you need to keep track of state between pages, it's a game changer.
Okay, so beyond just routing, the Pages model had this very specific way of dealing with data. First up, you had getStaticProps. Think of this as your performance champion. It runs just one time at build time and spits out static HTML. This is absolutely perfect for things like marketing pages or blog posts, anything that needs to load lightning fast from a CDN.
Then, on the complete other side of things, you had getServerSideProps. Now, this guy runs on the server for every single request. It's all about making sure the data is as fresh as possible. Super essential for something like a user's dashboard. But here's the catch. It forced you into a hard choice for every page. It had to be either all static or all dynamic. No in between.
And lastly, what about dynamic routes, like individual blog posts that you wanted to be static? For that, you needed getStaticPaths. This function's whole job was basically to tell getStaticProps, hey, go pre-build all of these pages. So you had these three functions working together, and they created a really powerful system for fetching data, but yeah, it was also a little rigid.
And that brings us to the app router. Now, it's really important to get this straight. This wasn't just a simple update or version bump. No, this was a complete, fundamental shift in the entire philosophy of building apps with Next.js.
The app router just completely flips the script. The old Pages router was client first, right? Well, the app router is server-centric. What does that mean? It means by default, every single component you write is a React server component. It renders on the server. If you want any client-side interactivity, you have to explicitly say so by adding that little use client directive at the top of the file. This is a massive, massive change. And thinking server-first like this, it unlocks a whole world of new possibilities. We get those awesome native nested layouts we just mentioned, for sure, but we also get a way simpler fetch API for getting our data, these really powerful things called server actions for handling forms and mutations, and a much, much better built-in system for handling all our SEO.
Okay, so now that we've got all that context, let's do it. Let's put these two routers head-to-head and see how they stack up in a direct feature showdown.
But hold on, before we dive into the nitty-gritty details, just remember this one thing. The differences we're about to see, they're not just about syntax. It's not just a new way to write code. This is a deep, philosophical divide between a client-first way of thinking and a modern, server-centric one.
All right, let's really break this down, because this table tells the whole story.
First, look at routing. We go from single files to convention-based folders. This means you can put your page, its layout, its loading state all in one place. Super organized. Then, the big one, the component model. We've talked about it, but this is the heart of the change, shifting from client by default to server by default. This is huge for performance because it means way less JavaScript shipped to the browser. And finally, look at data. The old way with 3 different functions? Gone. Replaced by a single, unified fetch that you use right in your components. And those complex API routes for changing data? Now we have streamlined server actions. It's a clear pattern, right? Everything is moving towards simplification and convention over configuration.
So, after that big showdown, it all comes down to this, doesn't it? The final, crucial question. What does all this mean for you and your project? This is where you have to make a strategic choice.
Let's make this easy. If you're starting a new project, the recommendation is, well, it's not even a question. It's unequivocal. Use the app router, full stop. You get to leverage all the latest and greatest features from React. You're building on the foundation that all future framework innovations will be built on. And frankly, it's just the best way to build a modern, super performant app today.
Okay, but what about all of us who have existing apps built with the good old Pages router? Right, the advice here is a lot more nuanced. First off, don't panic. If your app is stable and working well, you don't need to drop everything for a massive migration right now. And here's the best part. The Pages directory and the app directory can actually coexist in the same project. This is amazing because it lets you migrate incrementally. You can move one page or one new feature over at a time. It's a great way to future-proof your app without having to do a scary big bang rewrite.
So at the end of the day, this whole tale of 2 routers really boils down to one strategic question that every one of us has to ask. The Pages router, it's the stable, reliable foundation of Next.js's past. We built amazing things with it. But the server-centric app router, that is, without a doubt, its future. So the question I want to leave you with is a simple one. Is your app built for that future?